President Kamala Harris is targeting the Supreme Court in a new interview. Check it out.
I think this is an activist court. We had an established right for almost half a century, which is the right of women to make decisions about their own body as an extension of what we have decided to be the privacy rights to which all people are entitled. And this court took that constitutional right away. And we are suffering as a nation because of it. That causes me great concern about the integrity of the court overall.
So what is the strategy here? It appears to some this is an attempt to energize Democratic voters by focusing on the abortion issue in an effort to distract from the economy. Families are getting crushed by inflation. Households lost more than $6 trillion in just 3 months. But the Biden administration is not doing a whole lot of acknowledging of these numbers. What should be made of what critics call spin? Speaking of critics, we're going to go to Joe Concha first. $6.1 trillion in American wealth lost in the second quarter. Real estate values are up. U.S. household debt is also up.
That's right. So we should believe the administration, their spin, the administration that says we're not in a recession, even though we had 2 straight quarters of negative growth. We should believe this administration who said that we're at 0 inflation when we're actually at 8.5% inflation. In other words, you can't trust this administration when it comes to anything regarding the economy and truth. As for Kamala Harris, as far as her talking about how this is an activist court, I'm old enough to remember when Kamala Harris tried to get Brett Kavanaugh impeached 1 year after he was confirmed for really no apparent reason. And now she's going to be on Meet the Press, as we just showed with Chuck Todd tomorrow. Here's the promo from NBC. Kamala Harris will join Chuck Todd for an exclusive interview on the state of our democracy, abortion rights, and the U.S. role in the world. Boy, I don't hear anything in there about inflation, like we just talked about crime, particularly lax bail laws that are letting criminals back out onto the street. I don't hear a thing, and I doubt we're going to hear a thing from Chuck Todd asking, hey, your #1 priority as vice president is to secure the U.S. southern border. And how about all that fentanyl that's coming over, by the way, that's killing an average of 300 Americans a day? If I don't see those things in this interview, let's just say that sound you hear is Tim Russert rolling over in his grave again.
And Laura, ahead of tomorrow's appearance on Meet the Press, she was in Maryland today. Take a listen to what she had to say.
In 2020, the American people put their trust in Democrats. And over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered. Let me rephrase that. Over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered big time.
So she's... Say it like you mean it. She's trying to do some convincing there. Obviously, that's her job. But how effective is this going to be?
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we're laughing at it because it's that absurd to claim that the Democrats have delivered anything. Perhaps they have, Joe, as you just laid out, delivered open borders, fentanyl overdoses that are killing the youth of America at a rapid rate, high inflation. Of course, we know about the gas prices we're all dealing with and embarrassments on the world stage brought to you right there by Kamala Harris. I mean, they haven't delivered anything. They have taken America in the opposite direction from where we should want to go. The fact that households lost $6 trillion in 3 months, that is terrible. But it's what Joe said. You're exactly right. They just go out and they just spew a bunch of nonsense, and they hope that people are going to say, well, maybe they're right. Maybe things are better. They're not better. People feel it. So to answer your question, I do not think it's going to work. I don't think they're convincing anyone, because at the end of the day, people look in their bank accounts, people go to fill up their cars still, they're going to go to the grocery store. They feel like things are worse. And that's the truth. So they haven't delivered anything.
And Sean, one of the questions for Republicans is how effective is this focusing on other things? How effective is it actually? And let's take a look at a poll here. This is of independent voters. It's NPR PBS Marist poll that shows 37% find the most important issue is inflation, 22% abortion, and 12% health care. As you know, as we head into the midterms here, a lot of these tight races are won on the margins. Is there a risk here that Democrats actually could make a difference in those margins?
Can I answer that in 1 second? To this point of Kamala Harris saying, we've won big time. Take them at face value. The policies that we have and the results of those policies are what they've intended. They've intended to spend their hearts out, to have inflation. They've intended open borders. They've intended to defund the police. They've intended to have a rise in crime. They've intended to have more people addicted to drugs. That's what they've intended. She thinks they won big time. Any sane American goes, this is garbage. This is horrible. And to your point, I don't want to see the country go in this direction. But I think this actually works if Republicans don't hit back. So when you call Republicans extremists, I've seen these ads, Republicans on abortion, they're extremists. And then Republicans cower in the corner. They need to learn something from Donald Trump. Donald Trump fights back, pushes back. If it was me running, I would run the clip of the ad calling me an extremist. Right? I'd play that clip of their ad, and then I'd go, I'm an extremist? They want late-term partial birth abortion. They're the ones that open up the borders. They're the ones that have spent $5 trillion in the last year and a half. They're the ones that brought you inflation. They're the ones that want to defund the police. I'm not the extremist. They're the extremists. You got to punch them back. But when Republicans don't engage in the debate and they cower on abortion instead of, because listen, most Americans, they may not be, I'm a pro-life guy, life at conception. Democrats are at late-term partial birth abortion. Americans fall somewhere in between, but you got to call them out on their radical abortion policies and then talk about the other policies that actually matter to the American voter. They do care about inflation. But you see this number of 22%. It's that high because Republicans haven't responded to go, no, don't take your eye off the ball.
Well, and they've been lying. The Democrats have been lying about what's going on. That clip of Kamala Harris was a lie. It is not a constitutional right to have an abortion. And so what we actually saw happen with the Supreme Court is they sent it back to the states for the people of the country to decide. But they keep lying and saying, well, they're outlawing abortions across America.
I thought they support democracy. This is democracy back to the people.
Quick question, quick answer. Is the reason why Republicans aren't pushing back because they really have no leader in the party right now that is saying, you have to do this. You have to go on the offensive. In other words, Mitch McConnell, not exactly confident in the Senate candidates, for example.
I think there's a whole bunch of comms teams out there. Yeah. And if you're not fighting back on this issue and then pivoting to the issues that matter to voters, fire your comms team. You need great ads that are pushing back on this. And I'm not seeing Republicans do it. And if they don't, they'll lose. If they do it, they're going to win.
Well, and November is so close and so far away.